Welcome back, my duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and it is Monday. So let's start off this next week, this new week, with another Not Yu-Gi-Oh build. This time we're going to go back to Magic the Gathering. We're going to go back to the Amonkhet block, and we are going to play another block built deck. And this time we're going to focus in on the Minotaurs. So real quick, what you're going to need, you are going to need 4 copies of the Desert of Fervent land card, as well as 4 copies Desert of the Glorified. When either of these enter play, they enter play tapped. They tap to create 1 generic of either red or black mana. They may both be cycled for 2 mana, where you would discard them and then draw a new card. Outside of that, we will be playing 9 copies of Mountain, just whatever mountains you have. I know these ones are from Origins. And I'm going to be playing a 6-pack of some swamps. So again, 6, 9 plus 8, 17, 6. It's like 23 land. A little more than I usually play. Normally I go for about like 18 to 20. But when you've got 8 that can cycle, you just kind of go with the free draw abilities. So let's do the creature spells first. Let me separate them. Then we'll hit up our instants, which actually is a majority of them. And then we'll hit our last couple of spells after that. So the first creature spell type I'm going to be using is I'm going to be playing 2 copies of the Crop Crasher. Tongue twister there. This is going to be a 3/2 for 3 with haste. You may exert this as it attacks. If you do, target creature cannot block this turn. However, when it is exerted, it is going to be much like Yu-Gi-Oh's cards like Goblin Attack Force, where they do not, in Magic, they won't untap next turn, whereas like the Goblin Attack Force would fall to defense and stay there for a turn. So it'd be very similar, but again, ultimately very different. Next up, we are going to be using 2 copies of the Blood Rage Brawler. This is going to be a 4/3 on 2. When this enters the battlefield, you have to discard a card. Again, a lot of early game power for this. Very cool card. Next up, we're going to be using 3 copies of the Burning Fist Minotaur. This 2/1 casts in on 2, has first strike, and for 1 red and 1 other, you may discard a card, and this Minotaur will get +2/0 until the end of the turn. So again, can pump itself while getting the first strike, can get some very nasty KOs early game. Next one, this is the first one we're going to be running a 4-pack of. Not even a Minotaur, believe it or not. It's the Flame Blade Adept. It's going to be a 1/2 on 1. I forget what Menace is. I want to say it has to be blocked by 2 or more cards, but I'm not exactly sure. And then whenever you cycle or discard a card, this will get +1/0 until the end of the turn. So again, the more cycling you're doing, the better off. And again, we can get that early game power off of our 8 desert land cards. Next up, we are going to be playing 4 copies of the Grizzly Survivor. This is going to be a Minotaur Warrior. It's going to be a 2/3 on 3. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, this card will get +2/+0 until the end of the turn. So again, a lot of early mid-game power between that and the previous. We're also going to be playing 2 copies of the Heartpiercer Manticore. This is going to be a 4/3 that's going to cast on 4. When this enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Heartpiercer Manticore deals damage to equal to that creature's power to either target creature or player. So again, we can offboard something real quick, or we can go ahead and get at our opponent's hit points. And we may embalm this on a cost of 6, where we'll exile it from the discard pile, create a copy of it that is a token that is also a white zombie Manticore with no mana cost. And again, you can only do that anytime you can play a sorcery. And I'm not sure, but maybe the token can also perform the first effect. Next up, we're going to play Neheb the Eternal. We're going to have 1 copy. He is legendary. He is Zombie Minotaur Warrior. He is a 4/6 on 5. He has Afflict 3. Whenever this creature becomes blocked, defending player loses 3 life. So you lose a little less if you block him than taking it the direct. But still good. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, And again, we do have to separate this because Magic has 2 main phases, much in the same way that Yu-Gi-Oh does. At the beginning of that, you add 1 red mana to your mana pool per each life your opponent lost this turn, which again, just based on the Heb, if he is blocked, can be 3 red mana alone, not counting any other damage sources. So again, this lets you get into more spells on the secondary main phase. And then we also have 2 copies of Neheb the Worthy. And again, he's going to be cast on 3. He is a 2/2 with first strike. All other Minotaurs that you control will now have first strike as long as he's in play. As long as you have 1 or fewer cards in your hand, all your Minotaurs will also get a +2/0. And whenever he deals combat damage to a player, each player discards a card, which will in fact pump up the other characters. So again, pretty cool lineup. The instants are actually going to be pretty cool as well. The first one we're going to use is Brute Strength. This casts on 2. Target creature gets +3/+1 and trample until end of the turn. So again, makes it a lot easier to deal damage. Next, we're going to use 3 copies of Fling. Fling casts on 2, and as an additional sacrifice, or as an additional cost, you must sacrifice one of your creatures. You will deal damage equal to the sacrificed creature let me try this again. Fling deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target creature or player. So again, we can just kind of catapult them at the opponent. Next up, we got a 4-pack of Magma Spray, going straight up to the limit of 4 here. Cast on 1, deals 2 damage to target creature, and if it would die this turn, you get to exile it. And again, because Amonkhet was so much about zombies and replaying things, this was actually very useful for that block. And in the last instant we're going to play 4 copies of the Supernatural Stamina. Until the end of the turn, target creature gets 2/0, gains when this creature dies or turns into the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. What makes this really cool is, even for the ones that have Embalm, we don't have to embalm it. So again, just real quick, when dies, return to field, which is the same as placing it back into the battlefield from the discard. If you do this with the Mana Core, you can get a couple different pops off of it. And again, it's just a great way to pump up a character that you know you're going to lose just by throwing it in front to block. You might be able to get the Revenge KO on the opponent's monster, and this will bring it back under your control anyway. So again, it's really good. It helps you cut your losses. It's nice. We are going to play 2 copies of Cut to Ribbons. Because I actually looked up how to pronounce this one earlier. So as a sorcery for Cut, which is what you'll play from your hand, it'll cast on 1 red, 1 other, and deal 4 damage to target creature. And to play it as Ribbons, it is an aftermath spell, meaning it can only be played from the graveyard, then exiled. You will pay double black plus X, and each player will lose X life. So again, it's really good. Really helps us go ahead and beat into the opponent. And if we get Neheb onto the field with his eternal ability with the Afflict 3, this goes a long way towards helping pay into the X to deal the extra damages. And then the last card I use for this build, I use 1 copy of Hazard's Favor. This enchantment comes into play under 3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target creature you control gain 2/0 in haste. If you do, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So kind of use it sparingly, but again, there's some times where you just need to be able to play a card and attack and get that last swing in for game. And this will do. So even the little one, he was the 1/1. It was the Flame Blade Adept. Like, let's say you just had to get 2 damage off, but you only had 4 mana. You could play the enchantment first, play the character, then say that you want to target him for the haste, allowing him to move this turn, and he'll be able to go in as a 3/2 because of the pumps. So again, it's not bad. It's a little different, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to go see about untying my tongue, though, because I don't know if I'm just having like a bout of dyslexia or something, but I swear, I just couldn't read the English language today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'm thinking we'll go back to Naruto with the next one. And then, at least for now, I want you guys to have a great day. I want you guys to go out and do something that you enjoy. And I've got some more Speed Duel tryouts for this week, plus another deck coming up later on. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the rest of the week as well. Till then, see you guys later.